चीज़ें सामने आएंगी.
Right, we'll talk about this further, but I think we're getting to the start of that plenary session now. Again in Goa, just a short distance away it was from where we saw the BRICS Business Council meeting taking place. Now the formal plenary session will begin shortly, and we will see more in terms of what each of these leaders really want, how BRICS should be moving forward in terms of, well,
Your Excellency, President Xi Jinping, Your Excellency, President Jacob Zuma, Your Excellency, President Michel Temer, Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, distinguished delegates, I join 1.25 billion Indian in once again extending a very warm welcome to all of you in Goa for the 8th BRICS Summit. I am honored to chair the BRICS leaders plenary meeting. Our exchanges earlier during the day were productive. This session should build on them and deliberate on the proactive agenda of action for BRICS. The footprint of intra-BRICS engagement has expanded over time to include large areas of economic activity. The scope of our partnership today stretches from agriculture to industry and innovation, trade to tourism, environment to energy, films to football, skill development to smart cities, and from fighting corruption and money laundering to securing our societies. This year, we have taken BRICS to our cities and provinces and linked it directly to our people from different walks of life. Excellencies, we are celebrating 10 years of our partnership under BRICS. A decade of collaboration has produced strong benefits of cooperation. We are entitled to take pride in our initiatives and achievements. The establishment of new development bank and the contingency reserve arrangement are indeed signature achievements. In a world of new security challenges and continuing economic uncertainties, BRICS stands as a beacon of peace, potential, and promise. Our work holds much meaning for the developing world. In the past year, BRICS has played an active role in shaping the global agenda for change and development. Our association with Agenda 2030, the Paris Climate Agreement, and the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development has been purposefully and productive. And we remain at the forefront of pushing change in the global governance architecture. Excellencies, while our achievements have been substantial, we need to sustain the positive direction and strong momentum of intra-BRICS engagement. We also need to add more content to it. Let me offer some thoughts for your considerations. First, the process of institution building in BRICS must continue to remain a focus area. The institutions that we build must support the development of our countries and regions. They should enable greater flexibility and freedom and offer wider choices in responding to our developmental priorities. We look forward to translating into reality the idea of a BRICS credit rating agency. We must also speed up the work on setting up BRICS Agriculture Research Center, BRICS Railway Research Network, and BRICS Sports Council. There is also a clear need to build norms, create structures, and pool our capacities to stop tax evasion and fight against black money and corruption. Our agencies must also build mechanism of information sharing to bring to justice the tax offender and money launderers. BRICS should push for empowering the global governance institutions to reflect today's reality. Second, transform the quantum and quality of trade and investment linkages among BRICS. In 2015, intra-BRICS trade stood at about $250 billion US. We should set ourselves a target to double this number to US dollars 500 million by 2020. This requires business and industry and all 5 countries to scale up their engagements, and for governments to facilitate this process to the fullest. Our agreement on a tax and custom cooperation framework is a good start. The BRICS Trade Fair exhibition just concluded in New Delhi should become a regular platform for business exchanges. And the BRICS New Development Bank must play an active role to support this objective. It can also help integrate our SMEs into global value chain. We must also coordinate closely to preserve the central role of the Doha Development Round and the WTO. Alongside, we should increase our cooperation and convergence at the G20, WTO, and other fora. India has tabled a draft of the Trade Facilitation Agreement for Services at the WTO. It seeks to maximize the benefits of service liberalization and trade to the developing countries. A strong BRICS support to this proposal will be in our collective economic interest. Third, focus on key priorities of our economic transformations. Urbanization, infrastructure, and innovation represent the key focus area for BRICS economies. Under India's chairmanship, we have placed emphasis on digital technology, smart cities, urbanization, and cooperation between our cities. The next billion interest users will come from emerging markets. Our cooperation must grab this opportunity to transform the basic structure of our economies. Fourth, secure our societies. In the world we inhabit today, security and counter-terrorism cooperation is necessary if we are to secure the lives of our citizens. Terrorism casts a long shadow on our development and economic prosperity. Its research is now global. It has grown more lethal and adept at the use of technology. Our response to terrorism must, therefore, be nothing less than comprehensive. And we need to act both individually and collectively. Selective approaches to terrorists, individuals and organizations will not only be futile but also counterproductive. There must be no distinction based on artificial and self-serving grounds. Criminality should be the only basis for punitive action against the individuals and organizations responsible for carrying out terrorist acts. Terrorist funding, their weapon supply, training and political support must be systematically cut off. In this respect, we need to deepen the security cooperation between our national security advisors. Early adoption of the draft Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism will be an expression of our resolve to fight this means. Fifth, thriving people-to-people exchange is the lifeblood of BRICS. It brings vibrancy and richness to our partnership. We have chosen to highlight this dimension this year. The BRICS Film Festival, Trade Fair, Tourism Convention, Sports Council, Football Tournament, and other related activities will help in creating millions of young stakeholders that will ultimately carry our partnership forward. Excellencies, I am eager to hear from my fellow BRICS leaders on their vision for a stronger, deeper and vibrant BRICS community. I thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. Excellencies, I now have a great pleasure to invite you to deliver your country statements. May I first invite His Excellency President Xi Jinping to deliver his remarks.
尊敬的莫迪总理，尊敬的祖马总统，尊敬的特米尔总统，尊敬的普京总统，女士们、先生们、朋友们，很高兴来到美丽的古阿，感谢普京总统和印度政府为本次会晤所做的精心组织和周到的安排。2014年呢，我也访问过印度，勤勉奋进的印度人民，瑰丽多彩的印度文化，给我留下了深刻的印象。
A deep impression.
10月是收获的季节。
October is the season of harvest, and this year marks the 10th anniversary of BRICS cooperation. We in China often say it takes a master craftsman 10 years to sharpen the sword. Indeed, European countries have traversed a rewarding journey in the past 10 years. With solid steps, BRICS cooperation has grown in depth and substance and evolved into an international mechanism with major influence and a productive track record. The past decade has seen BRICS making constant progress toward common development. We followed a development-first approach focused on growing the economy and improving people's lives and achieved much progress. Over the last 10 years, the share of the 5 countries in the world economy has risen from 12% to 23%, from 11% to 16% in global trade. and from 7% to 12% in outbound investment. The living standards of our 3 billion people are constantly improving. The stature and the role of BRICS in the international community have been rising. The past decade has seen BRICS expanding cooperation with win-win results. Following the BRICS spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and win-win cooperation, we have worked to put in place a multidimensional and a multi-layered cooperation structure. And we have been able to widen the scope, improve the mechanisms, and enrich the outcomes of our cooperation. We launched the new development bank and the contingent reserve arrangement, advanced cooperation on energy conservation and energy efficiency, and enhanced coordination in our position on climate change. All these have testified to the efficiency and effectiveness of BRICS cooperation and opened up a new path of South-South cooperation. The past decade has seen BRICS making dedicated efforts to fulfill its mission and make a real difference. Together, we have withstood the shock of the international financial crisis and made important contribution to global economic and financial stability. According to the IMF report, BRICS countries have contributed to more than 50% of global growth during the last decade. We have stood up for international equity and justice and spoken with one voice on major international and regional issues. We have pushed for the reform of global economic governance, which resulted in greater representation and a voice of emerging markets and developing countries. Dear colleagues, as an old Chinese saying goes, from the mirror we learn about ourselves. From the past we learn about the future. Proper stock-taking of the past will lead us toward a brighter future. In our world today, the momentum of global economic recovery remains fragile, with lackluster trade and investment, and continued volatility in commodity prices. Deep-seated imbalances that triggered the financial crisis are far from being resolved. Some countries are getting more inward-looking in their policies. Protectionism is rising, and the forces against globalization are posing an emerging risk. Furthermore, we have to confront complicated geopolitical factors, intertwined traditional and non-traditional security risks, and also rising global challenges such as terrorism, infectious diseases, and climate change. All these make for a complex and a volatile external environment for the development of BRICS countries. The theme of this BRICS summit, building responsive, inclusive, and collective solutions, is highly relevant. Given the challenges in the overall international environment, stronger confidence and a joint response are all the more important. 10 years on, BRICS cooperation has grown into a luxuriant tree with deep roots. We are fully capable of turning challenges into opportunities and pressure into motivation, and overcoming difficulties through united efforts. We must contribute our wisdom and strength and work together to find common solutions. First, we need to work together for an open world. Openness holds the key to a country's prosperity. We should follow the law of history and the trends of our times by advancing structural
结构
reform,
性改革，
adopting
创新增
new
长
growth
方式
models,
构建
building
开放
open
型经济
economies,
旗帜性
and
影响
firmly
各种
opposing
形式的保
protectionism
护主义
in all forms.
我们要加强
It is
宏观
important
经济政
that
策
we
协调，
strengthen coordination on
以
macroeconomic
推进经
policies
济、经贸大市场、
and
金融大流通、
facilitate market interlinkages, financial integration, infrastructure connectivity,
为
and
抓手，
people-to-people contacts.
走向国
With
际
this
开
way,
放合
we
作
BRICS
最
countries
前沿，
may set the pace for
在
international
国际舞台
cooperation
上
on greater
积极发
openness
挥
and
引领作
lead
用。
the world in this direction.
第二，
Second,
共同勾
we
画
need to
发
set
展
out
前
a
景，
common vision for future development.
实现包容和
Inclusive
持续
and
发展，
sustainable development
既是
is
各
the
国
shared
人民的
aspiration
共
of
同
people
期
around
许，
the world.
也是世界经
It
济
is
持续
also
稳
a
定增
source
长
of
的
strength
动力
for the
源泉。
healthy and the sustainable growth of the world
我们要
economy.
继续高举发展
We
旗
should
帜，
continue to prioritize
结合落
development
实2030
and
年持续
scale up
发展议程。
North-South dialogue and South-South
和20个集团
cooperation
领导人
in the
航天峰会
context
承
of
诺，
implementing the 2030 Agenda for
加
Sustainable
强南北
Development
对话
and
和
the
南南
outcomes
合作，
of the G20 Hangzhou Summit.
用新思路、
We can inject fresh
新理念、
impetus to
新
and
举
open
措
new vista for international
为
development
国际发展
cooperation with
合
new
作
thinking, new
注入
concepts,
新动力
and new measures,
开辟新空
and
间，
help bring about
推动全球
strong,
经济
sustainable,
实现
balanced,
强劲、
and
可持续、
inclusive growth of the
平衡
world economy.
包容增长。第三，
Third,
共同应
we
对
need to
全球性
confront
挑
global
战。
challenges together.
金砖国家同呼吸共命运，
We BRICS
既
countries
是息
share
息
a
相
common
关的
future.
利益共同体，
We're not just a community of convergent
更是
interests, but
携
more
手前行
importantly,
的行
we
动共
take
同体。
concerted actions and make progress
我
together.
们要加强在
It is
重
imperative
大国
that
际
we
问题
step up coordination
以及
and
地区热点问
communication
题上的
on major
协调沟
international
通，
issues and regional hotspots,
共同行动，
and act in concert
推动热点
to
问题
find
的政治
political
解决，
solutions to hotspot issues
携手应对
and
自
take
然
on
灾
such
害、
global challenges as
气候
natural
变化、
disasters, climate
传
change,
染病疫情、
infectious diseases, and
恐怖主义
terrorism,
全球性问题。既要联合
while
发声，
speaking with one voice to call for greater international input.
也要采取
We should
务实
also
行
address
动，
issues on the ground
推动
with
解决实
concrete
际问题，
efforts and a multi-pronged approach
标本
that
兼治
addresses，both symptoms
综合施
and
策
root causes.
从根源上化解矛盾，为国
And
际
that
社
will
会
be
实
our
现长
contribution
治久
to
安
enduring
做出
peace
贡
and the
献。
security of the world.
第四，
Fourth,
共同维护
we need to stand
公平
together
正义
for justice and equity.
公平正义的全球治理
Global governance that is based on equity and justice is a must for the development of all countries.
我们要继续做
We
全
should
球治
continue
理
to
变革进
participate
程的
in,
参与者，
advance, and lead the reform in global governance
推动国际秩
in order
序
to
朝着更
achieve
加
a
公
more
正合理的
reasonable
方向
and
发展，
equitable international order
继续提升新兴市
and
场国家
increase the representation
和发展
and
中
the
国家
voice of
代表
emerging
性
markets and
和
developing
发言权。
countries.
我们要
We
继续
should continue
做国际
to
和平
safeguard
事业的发展者，
international peace
坚持按照
and
联合
handle
国宪
issues
章宗
in
旨
light of their own merits
和国际
and
关
in
系
keeping
准
with the
则，
purposes and the
按
principles
照事情
of
本
UN
身的
Charter
是非曲直
and
处
norms
理问题，
governing international relations.
释放正能量，
This way, we BRICS countries can bring positive energy to the world and usher in a new type of international relations featuring win-win cooperation.
第五，
Fifth,
共同
we
深
need
化
to deepen
伙
our
伴关系。
partnership.
金砖国
We
家
BRICS
是
countries
真
are
诚相待
good
的好
friends,
朋友、好兄
good
弟、
brothers,
好伙伴。
and good partners that treat each other
这种
with
友谊和
sincerity.
合作必将不
This
断
bodes
深化。
well for deepening friendship and cooperation
我
going
们要
forward.
以落实金砖国
The
家经济伙
implementation
伴战略
of
为
the
契机，
strategy for BRICS economic partnership has offered us a good opportunity to deepen and expand economic cooperation in all areas and raise the collective competitiveness
我
of
们要把
BRICS
金砖
countries.
国家新开发银
We
行
must ensure the success of the new development bank and the contingent reserve arrangement,
建设好，
two mechanisms that will provide strong support for the economic well-being of
为发展
developing
中国家
countries.
经济发展提供有力保障。我们
We
要加强人
also
文交流
need，to encourage more people-to-people
促进民
exchanges
心相通，
in order to bring our people closer
夯实金砖
and
国
win
家合作的
greater
民意
popular
基础。
support for BRICS cooperation.
我们要继续扩大和巩
We
固
should broaden
金砖国家朋
BRICS
友圈，
circle of friends and keep
保
it
持
open
开放、
and
包容
inclusive for common
谋求
development.
共同发展。各位同
Dear
事，
colleagues,
中国是金砖机制的坚
as
定
a
支持者
committed
和参与
supporter
者，
and a participant of BRICS
把金砖
mechanism,
国家合作
China
作为中国
puts
外交
BRICS
的重要
cooperation
方向。
high on its diplomatic agenda.
相信金砖国家合作会有力促进
And we see
世界
BRICS
和平稳
cooperation
定
as a strong boost to
繁荣
world peace, stability, and prosperity.
感谢印度成功的举办了这一
Thank
届的
India for successfully holding
金砖国家
the
国阿
summit
峰会。
here in Goa.
明年
Next year,
中国将接任金砖国家轮值
the
主席
BRICS
国，
rotating presidency
主办金砖国家领导人第9次
the
会
ninth
晤。
summit.
我们深感
We
重
are
任
fully
在
aware
肩，
of the heavy
同时也
responsibilities,
充满信心。
and we are also
我们将同各成员国一道，
confident that
携手努
by
力，
working together,
规
we
划
BRICS countries
金砖国家发展
will
的
map out
新蓝
the
图。
blueprint for BRICS
谢谢大
development.
家。
I thank you.
I thank you, President Xi Jinping. Let me now invite His Excellency President Jacob Zuma for his remarks.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and our esteemed BRICS Chairperson, Prime Minister Modi, Your Excellency President Xi Jinping, Your Excellency President Temer, Your Excellency President Putin, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to congratulate our court, our chair, and gracious host, Prime Minister Modi, for his leadership towards yet another set of milestone achievements for our grouping today. The world is faced with new interconnected challenges which require our concerted efforts to resolve. The transcontinental and transboundary dimension of these challenges requires us to be ever more innovative in our collaborative efforts. I therefore welcome the further expansion of the BRICS STI Framework Program as an enabling instrument to support research, development, and innovation partnerships. Water as a potential source for future conflicts requires concerted collaboration. In this regard, we thank President Putin for Russia's hosting of the BRICS Water Forum. Developing countries need to adapt to the fourth industrial revolution, which is based on distributed smart systems integrated in the Internet of Things, with high levels of digitalization, automation, and networking. This will require the necessary investments in technology and infrastructure development, technology transfer, skills development, and industrial financing that will improve Africa's competitiveness and productive capacity, as well as reduce transaction costs. Your Excellencies, our working lunch focused on strengthening people-to-people cooperation, cognizant that we constitute almost half of the global population. Our combined demographics our combined demographic dividend represents a real advantage for the future growth. It also serves as an engine for global growth through empowering future consumer classes. It is our responsibility to harness our collective strength to improve the conditions of our people. In this regard, BRICS countries should become centers of cultural innovation and exchange and creativity driven by people-to-people interaction. We also encourage the development of strong new and indigenous knowledge systems and knowledge-sharing initiatives amongst ourselves. Your Excellencies, our BRICS Think Tanks Council has recommended to us that we consider an innovative framework for the governance of new spaces and commons, notably the outer space, deep ocean, and the internet. Given the contestations in these spaces, we appeal that enhanced functional cooperation becomes the motive and incentive for developing these spaces in order to serve humanity, especially its most deprived citizens. In Africa, our coastal communities face the dire consequences of climate change and require urgent funding to adapt to the various challenges. It is important that developing countries become partners in this process and that the related global value chains include the owners of natural resources to also be the beneficiaries thereof. We also need to empower our vulnerable groups who are most impacted by poverty, climate change, and the global economic crisis, among other challenges. We emphasized the need for a full role for women in society, in the economy, and governance to achieve the world we hope for. The outcomes of the meeting of our women parliamentarians will undoubtedly contribute to these goals. The 2016 BRICS Youth Summit noted that education, employment, entrepreneurship, and skills training are critical for young people to be socially and economically empowered. it was highlighted that many countries are supporting apprenticeships and providing incentives and opportunities for entrepreneurship. In this regard, the Youth Summit made a commitment to create an enabling environment for fostering innovation by young people. In order to accelerate inclusive growth, BRICS countries must expand investment in developing small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises. The South African government, business, and labor agreed to create 1 million youth internships to be jointly financed by the private sector, and a package of state incentives will be launched in 2017. Funding has also been set aside to promote equity investments in small businesses. Access to markets remains a critical area of focus for the success of our small and micro businesses. The BRICS grouping together accounts of overall GDP of $16 trillion. More than 40% of the BRICS economies are driven by the MSME sector, according to government estimates. BRICS has provided the world with new models, if not paradigms, for development tailored to the unique needs of the developing world. We therefore celebrate our own achievements while acknowledging the historic contributions of the developed world and the need for enhanced partnerships to mobilize all available resources to achieve our Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. In respect of the implementation of the strategy for BRICS economic partnership, we have identified key projects for cooperation with our BRICS partners in the areas of insurance and reinsurance cooperation, the BRICS Seed Bank, infrastructure, including electricity generation and transmission. Also, in the BRICS Cable Project, the African Union North-South Development Corridor, the Oceans Economy, cooperation in aviation, as well as manufacturing. We look forward to working with the BRICS Business Council on the details of these projects and their implementation. South Africa's participation in BRICS is interlinked with the development objectives of Africa as reflected in Agenda 2063, which is the continent's blueprint for economic and technological transformation. Significant opportunities on the continent present themselves. However, the continent's full potential will remain unfulfilled unless we address the challenges related to inadequate infrastructure, small and fragmented markets, underdeveloped production structures, and inadequate economic diversification. In this regard, the establishment of the new Development Bank Africa Regional Center in South Africa is welcomed and timely, as it will pay particular attention to Africa's needs in respect of industrialization and infrastructure, as well as sustainable development. We further welcome India's outreach initiative to the BIMSTEC countries and support the regional development and integration initiatives of BRICS members. We welcome the signing of the various memoranda of understanding which attest to the deepening of our wide-ranging cooperation. Your Excellencies, we take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Antonio Guterres on his appointment as the 9th UN Secretary General. We are encouraged by the synergy of his stated priority areas with our own policy objectives. These are the noted inextricable link between security and development, the need to align the UN with regional organizations, and the value of preventative diplomacy to achieve political solutions. We assure him of our full support in recognition of the United Nations as an essential partner in all our undertakings. We thank the outgoing Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, for his unselfish service to the organization and its member states over the past decade. Your Excellencies, we will continue to strengthen our BRICS cooperation in service of our development objectives aimed at enhancing the quality of life of our people. I thank you, Chairperson.
I thank you, President Jacob Zuma. I have great pleasure in inviting His Excellency President Michel Temer for his remarks.
Senhor Primeiro-Ministro Modi, senhor Presidente Xi Jinping, senhor Presidente Zuma, senhor Presidente Putin, eu quero, em primeiro lugar, dizer que há uma coincidência quase absoluta em todos os pensamentos que vêm sendo expressados desde a manhã de hoje. Seguiram-se aos debates de hoje de manhã, onde houve muita coincidência de opiniões, aquela conversa mais informal que tivemos ao longo do almoço, com resultados, penso eu, muito objetivos. E neste momento, quando ouço os senhores colegas do BRICS, também vejo esta coincidência, mas quero reafirmar que o sistema internacional vive um período de crescente interdependência. Os problemas que enfrentamos já não comportam soluções isoladas. Em contexto de profundas incertezas, uma constatação é claríssima. Nossos desafios requerem ação coletiva e parcerias sólidas. A parceria entre os BRICS é movida por essa convicção. Buscamos soluções que promovam a diversidade do concerto de nações. Buscamos soluções que favoreçam o bem-estar de nossas populações. Esta é a vocação do BRICS: comungar esforços para a construção de um mundo mais próspero e mais justo. Já transcorreram, como dito aqui, 10 anos desde que o BRICS passou a ser mais do que uma sigla cunhada no mercado financeiro. Hoje, somos economias dinâmicas que se organizam em torno de interesses comuns. A primeira década do BRICS é, sem dúvida, uma década de conquistas, na qual devemos nos orgulhar. O que foi feito não é pouco. Criamos um novo banco de desenvolvimento
Not a small
e o arranjo
effort. We have
contingente de
successfully
reservas.
established a new development bank and the contingent reserves arrangement. These are major initiatives, the result of our mutual trust
Sempre na busca de
and
soluções
commitment, always in the search for joint solutions. These initiatives translate in practice our convergence in the financial
é a
sphere.
face mais
The
visível do
NDB, the
BRICS.
bank, is the BRICS' most
Seu êxito
visible
será
face.
o êxito do BRICS.
Its
Nosso
success will
desempenho como
clearly
grupo
reflect the
e nossa
success of the
capacidade
BRICS
de
group,
inovar no
our
sistema
development
internacional
as a group, and our ability to innovate in the international system will be assessed on the basis of the proper workings of that banking institution, the NDB.
de nossos trabalhos.
A priority focus of our efforts should therefore be the consolidation of the NDB bank.
De suas operações
The successful start of the bank's operations is good reason for great joy. Its long-term success, in turn, is conditioned to the financial solidity and its
temos a
sound
confiança de que
management.
o novo banco de
We do
desenvolvimento
trust that the new development bank will follow in the right path and that it will promote
firmará
sustainable development and establish itself as a key player among international financial institutions. Our shared visions, as I have said before, on economic matters motivate us to do even more together. The path for us to achieve more results is certainly the path of dialogue and of consensus building. Our permanent challenge is to avoid dispersal of efforts. As mentioned in our early morning meeting, Brazil is currently going through major and substantial changes. We are taking actions to recover, restore growth, and create jobs. We are currently enhancing our regulatory frameworks, strengthening legal certainty, and fostering an environment that is conducive and friendly to new investments. Partnership arrangements among BRICS countries can foster greater interaction among our business communities and therefore encourage greater integration among our economies, as we have seen just earlier today during the meeting of the BRICS Business Council, as we heard the different stakeholders and players in BRICS. So on the trade front, therefore, we can make progress in removing non-tariff barriers, for example, such as streamlining of customs procedures and the mutual recognition of standards and certificates. The signing of a customs agreement among BRICS during the summit meeting opens up the prospects for greater coordination among our ports and customs authorities.
Barreiras sanitárias
Sanitary and phytosanitary barriers
são sempre fonte de incerteza no
have
comércio.
always been
Devemos impedir que essas medidas
should
sejam
therefore
utilizadas
that these
para
measures be used
protecionistas.
purposes.
Terreno promissor
Yet another promising area, may I state for the record, is the internationalization of small and medium enterprise, SMEs, as has been time and again mentioned in the afternoon remarks.
nós lançamos
In Brazil, we have launched measures aimed at expanding credit availability to small firms and also to support export-oriented transactions and also
pequenos empresários.
to train small businessmen and women.
Poderá aumentar a
Partnership
competitividade
among
dessas
BRICS
empresas
countries
e
can
contribuir
certainly boost competitiveness of these companies and therefore contribute to foster greater economic growth and creation of jobs. The role to be performed by the BRICS Business Council in this regard is therefore of utmost importance. I should also state for the record that on the social arena, we have very good prospects for more progress. We are countries that have large populations. We have similar challenges, and therefore we can work together to overcome them. In the healthcare sector, which, by the way, was mentioned during our luncheon talks, development of medications and vaccines is a topic of utmost importance. BRICS countries have successful experiences to share. Greater engagement in this topic will certainly bring the group closer to the needs of our populations. We are countries endowed with great scientific and technological capabilities. We have recognized education institutions and high-profile researchers. The BRICS network universities opens up prospects for new cooperation efforts on the educational arena. Designing joint graduate programs will certainly enable closer ties among members of our academic communities. Important universities in Brazil are currently committed to that initiative. BRICS countries also have a great weight on the environmental agenda. It is significant that the new development bank has devoted itself to renewable energy projects. We can move on and expand our partnership arrangements in that area, the environment. The substantial results achieved by Brazil in reducing deforestation and in using renewable energies encourage us to do even more on the environmental front. Dear friends and colleagues, I wish to congratulate Prime Minister Modi for the effort to take BRICS out of meeting rooms and take BRICS to public spaces such as movie theaters, football arenas and trade fairs. The links among our societies are the links that will ensure closer ties among our countries. In the end of the day, the strong commitment of the Indian presidency and last year on the part of the Russian presidency to include our parliaments in the scope of BRICS have yielded very good results. There have actually been quite a few parliamentarian embassies of BRICS countries that have met. The BRICS Parliamentarian Forum has therefore provided further political support to our partnership. In my view, this is therefore the path we must follow. There are clear-cut opportunities for our joint action. I am positive, I am extremely certain that we will leave Goa having renewed our commitment to the BRICS countries, a partnership that we wish to be always in tune with the priorities for our societies. Thank you very much.
I thank you, President Michel Temer. I invite for the final country statement in this plenary session His Excellency President Vladimir Putin for his remarks.
Уважаемый господин премьер-министр Моди, уважаемые коллеги и друзья, саммиты БРИКС всегда проходят в конструктивной и деловой атмосфере. Я согласен с оценкой нашего бразильского коллеги. Сегодня на ходе обеда мы это продемонстрировали благодаря премьер-министру Моди, который смог создать очень непринужденную обстановку, но в то же время очень конструктивную, деловую. Казалось бы, это мелочь, но на самом деле вот так и создается нормальное, хорошее деловое общение, так и достигаются конкретные результаты. Страны пятерки придерживаются близких позиций по актуальным глобальным и региональным проблемам. Выступают за решительные действия по борьбе с терроризмом, за совместное противодействие другим острым вызовам и угрозам современности. Мы убеждены, что урегулирование международных конфликтов должно осуществляться исключительно политико-дипломатическими средствами и не приемлем политику силового давления в любой форме. ущемления суверенитета других государств. К нашей сегодняшней встрече подготовлены весьма важные договоренности. Декларация ГОА и план действий по ее реализации, которые нам предстоит утвердить. Это действительно комплексные документы, которые определяют ключевые задачи на предстоящий год и на перспективу. При этом мы высоко ценим, что индийское председательство обеспечило преемственность и учет инициатив, выдвинутых Россией год назад в Уфе. Отмечу, что роль стран БРИКС в мировой экономике продолжает возрастать.
Comprehensive documents outlining key priorities for the years to come. With that, we applaud the continuity ensured by the Indian presidency with respect to the initiatives put forth by Russia a year ago in Ufa. Let me stress that the BRICS countries' role in global economy continues to grow. In 2007, our share in the global GDP accounted for less than 24%, whereas this year it exceeds 31%. BRICS countries are actively participating in the development of multilateral solutions and agreements designed to speed up global economic growth, foster trade, and address unemployment issues. BRICS countries are fruitfully cooperating within the framework of the WTO and G20. They share common approaches to the issues of global development, reforms of the world financial and economic architecture. Practical work of the new development work has been launched, as well as that of the contingent reserves arrangement. The New Development Bank has endorsed first 5 investment projects in the area of clean energy, one for each of its member countries. We hope that the bank is going to actively foster projects in national currencies of the BRICS countries. One of the key priorities at current stage is the adoption of the NDB development strategy. We need to geographic and sectoral priorities and develop criteria for the accession of new members, as well as agree on key parameters of its investment portfolio. With the commissioning of the contingent reserves arrangement, we have additional opportunities to protect our currencies from the excessive volatility on financial markets. Since February, the central banks of BRICS countries set up special correspondent accounts in national currencies. In the context of deteriorating international competition, we call upon partners to step up that trade and investment cooperation between the BRICS states. Thus, we will be able to foster advantages arising from mutually complementary nature of our economies, as well as protect our countries from excessive vulnerability to unfavorable trends of the international situation. Let me remind you of the fact that in Ufa last year, the countries endorsed the strategy for economic partnership of BRICS until 2020. We do hope that very soon the roadmap for investment cooperation of the BRICS states is going to be agreed upon, as well as action plan that will ensure the practical implementation of the strategy. We believe that our industrial and technological cooperation could become even more efficient. We need to translate into practical steps the initiatives on the establishment of the BRICS Foundry Union, the development of the Center for Processing and Keeping e-data and professional training. It is important to consider and work on the idea of establishing the BRICS Energy Agency. We welcome the proposal put forth by India on launching the special internet portal for small and medium enterprises of the BRICS states. There is substantial capabilities in the development of cooperation in the area of e-commerce. Today it is one of the most vibrant economic sectors globally. That is why we need to carve out a common approach of the BRICS states to the regulation of its activity, as well as to ensure the conditions for barrier-free e-commerce between the BRICS states. There are huge opportunities for the cooperation in the peaceful application of peaceful exploration of outer space. Just one example, bringing together the data of observation from satellites over coming from the remote sensing of Earth, BRICS countries could make a tangible contribution to addressing the most acute problems the humankind is facing, such as climate change, natural disasters and environmental protection. It is important to speed up the streamlining of customs procedures as well as to exchange views and experience in terms of development of a single window for the activities of economic operators. We need to work together on streamlining anti-monopoly regulation, bring our positions closer to the streamlining of manufacturing and technology norms and standards. I would like to commend the active contribution of the BRICS Business Council to our efforts. It is important to develop cooperation in the area of healthcare, in the area of preventing and suppressing the spread of dangerous, contagious diseases such as Ebola in Africa and risks related to the Zika fever in a number of Latin American states. In November 2017, Moscow is going to hold the high-level global conference on TB, during which we are going to discuss measures to counter these and very other dangerous epidemia. We invite all BRICS countries to attend this event. Humanitarian cooperation of the BRICS states is gaining momentum. India organized a number of very interesting events which we highly commend. The practical work is being carried out on the development of the BRICS Network University, the initiative that was put forward by Russia. 56 educational institutions of our countries joined this initiative. I believe that the university is going to be an important tool in implementing multilateral education, scientific and innovation projects. As I conclude, I would like to stress once again that we stand ready to continue close cooperation with the BRICS partners. I would like to extend candid gratefulness.
Excellencies, I thank all of you for valuable suggestions and contributions. They will help us set an action-oriented agenda for positive change. It is declared that institution building is one of the core targets of our efforts. We have agreed to quickly put in place the BRICS rating agency. We have agreed on setting up a BRICS agriculture research network. We also need to expedite BRICS railway research network and BRICS Sports Council. Combating terrorism, including cross-border terrorism and its supporters, will be a key BRICS priority. We will also work closely to fight tax evasion, black money and corruption. Earlier today, at lunch, we have also agreed to hold a high-level meeting on traditional knowledge. We have also agreed to make BRICS a stronger voice on the existing and emerging global and regional issues. The emerging regional and global challenges require a robust cooperation and resolute action by BRICS. Hearing you around the table today, I am confident of success and growth of BRICS. For this, we should hold our commitment to the test of visible action. I think I speak for all when I say that through common vision and collective action, we will create and sustain deeper bonds among BRICS nations, develop our economies and secure our societies, nurture linkages that will inspire our future generations, and place on the ground a BRICS network of understanding, friendship, and cooperation. Let me also congratulate China and offer our full support as it prepares to assume the presidency next year. I now have pleasure to declare the adoption of the Goa Declaration. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.